Well, everyone, what a gift it is to be back talking basketball with our dear friend, John Fanta. John, we love you. We're so grateful for you and the passion that you bring to the sport of basketball, but to my life, to the lives of people watching, to everyone's life. You just light it up. You light up the room. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Karlie. Thank you for having me. Love our CAA family, all the fans out there, all the followers of these teams, and I felt your love the last week. I'm deeply appreciative of all you guys and excited to talk about the Coastal Athletic Association because we are hitting prime time in this league. There is a terrific race happening in the CAA. You've got Drexel at the top at 8-2, but then UNCW, Charleston, and Towson all at 7-3. Delaware and Hofstra all at 6-4. The point, it's highly competitive. There's rich parity, and I can't wait to see what the final weeks of conference play begin. We have hit that home stretch, and this is quite the horse race. Down the track, they come.
Down the track they come. I mean, pretty soon. We're literally going to be cutting nets, but I don't want to be there yet, right? There's so much to talk about and leading up to it. And today I want to open this up by talking about the Pride. John, huge week for Hofstra. Speedy Claxton's guys grabbed 2 wins over Long Island. Rival Stony Brook and Towson. Tyler Thomas, a machine. He's incredible to watch. He averaged 24.5 points on 50% shooting this past week. He's 8th in the nation in scoring. So why does this past week really just speak volumes about this group, John?
Well, I think that for Hofstra, the way that they beat Towson really does speak volumes because it wasn't the prettiest game. It was a 59-56 win for the Pride, but that's part of playing Towson. You've got to be gritty. You've got to be tough. You got to be willing to grind them down physically. And Hofstra got out rebounded in this game, but they figured out a way to win it. And I think that's a huge step for this team in a season that's had its own ups and downs for them. But they're beginning to play their best basketball. And down the stretch in this game, it was tied at 54. And Jocko Fritz comes up with a huge layup in which Thomas had the assist. And then Thomas comes up with a massive 3 with 42 seconds left that served as the dagger. Tyler Thomas is one of the best scorers in the country. He is on my all-bucket team national list. That he's a guy who's just going to go out and get you 20 easily every single night. What it comes down to is how much help does Darlin Stone Dubar provide? And right now, D Stone, he's having a great year as well. I mean, the thing is, Karlie, is Tyler Thomas is having such a sensational season, but D Stone Dubar is also having a terrific year. There's not a lot of guys who are averaging 18 and 7 per game, and D Stone's done that. He had 14 against Towson. He's been a double-figure guy. He had the 30-point game against Stony Brook a few games back. So I'll tell you what. This team has a 1-2 punch. They've got the scoring duo. They've got the point guard, Jake Juan Carlos. And Thomas, as a distributor, really impressed me in the win over Towson. He had 9 assists in that game. And that's amazing to think that Tyler Thomas is notching 9 assists along with 23 points. That means that he's essentially accounting for over 40 points between scoring and passing in a game in which his team scored 59. He is such a gifted player. It's why he's on the CAA Player of the Year radar. And with him on the floor, Hofstra can beat anybody in this conference.
Yeah, a lot on his shoulders. John, okay, another team that's really thrown a punch or two, the Fightin' Blue Hens, 2-0 week for Delaware with statement wins over Monmouth and William & Mary. They're getting a variety of guys to step up, and as a team, Delaware shot over 50% from the floor in both of those wins. Let's not forget, okay, 2 years ago, this was a 5th seed that won the CAA tournament. Jair Davis is one of those players that remembers that run. So what do you like out of the guys from the 302?
Well, they have great balance offensively, and they play a quicker tempo, not the quickest, but they're top 160 nationally, but they're just outside the top 130 nationally offensively from an efficiency standpoint. So they're getting great balance. Delaware has balance. The Blue Hens are a well-oiled machine on the offensive end of the floor. Christian Ray goes for 17 points in their win over William & Mary. He goes for 9 rebounds and 4 assists as well. In that game, in that win, they had 5 in double figures. So they're getting a really nice mix of scoring. And they're a team that they've got an identity between Ray and what Davis is able to do for this team. And then I look at a guy like a Gerald Drumgoole Jr. Great name, Gerald Drumgoole Jr. he's a guy that's stepping up for them recently. Had a 20-plus point performance against A&T, had 16 against William and Mary. So what I look at with Coach Inglesby's group is they've got a real nice sense of who they are. They're not over-reliant on one piece, but if they need to be, Davis can be that guy. Jair Davis personifies versatility, and he rebounds the basketball at a high level, but he also can score at a very high level, averaging the 18 and 7 per game, averaging 3 assists as well. Hasn't shot the three tremendously, but he's shooting it close to 50% from the floor. So I love Jair. I think he's one of the more unique tools in the CAA box, if you will, of guys that you could pull out and you say, what can you give me? He can give you a lot of different things, a lot of different looks for a defense. So I'll tell you, Delaware is an intriguing team. Don't forget, this team went on the road and beat Xavier this year. Xavier doesn't lose bye games. It's the first time they lost a bye game in 12, 13 seasons, next to their Oakland loss. The question now for Delaware is, what can they turn it into? Can they keep this run going? You've got the back-to-back wins. You've got a big game on Thursday night at Towson. Can you match Towson's physicality? And can Ray and Davis do enough from the scoring column? But upcoming schedules gettable. William and Mary, Elon, A&T. The door is open for the Blue Hens to step through it. And one thing's for certain, they really have good chemistry on the offensive end of the floor. They are my dark horse in the CAA.
Wow, let it be known. Time shall tell. Quite a few tools in the toolbox and quite a few standout performers all around the league this past week. For UNCW to go 2-0 against Charleston in the regular season, that's a big deal. And we know Trizarian, he's going to be Trizarian. How have you seen guys really key in and step up, guys like Donovan Newby and others really contributing?
Well, I think that's the identity of UNCW basketball, and it's also felt in their fan base right now. I mean, you give them an immense amount of credit. Trask Coliseum has had 4 straight sellouts, and they're working on a 5th. I mean, that's just amazing. That speaks to what's happening right now down in Wilmington. So you're right. For this team, they were able to bring in a kid in KJ Jenkins, who's a transfer from New Mexico, and he's really helped them a ton. He had sharp shooting ability, catch and shoot ability, hit 5 threes in the win over Campbell, scored 20 points in that win. And then for Donovan Newby to come in off the bench, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. The thing is, this is a team that defensively is super engaged. So when you combine it with shot making, those two things are just special. And Newby, I'm amazed by what he is doing for this team and what he's doing in coming off the bench.
Right.
He comes in off the bench and he makes things happen for them. That's a guy who's embracing his role, Karlie Smith. That's culture. That's what Takeo Siddle has built down at Wilmington, accepting that you're going to come in off the bench and that you're going to help your team. And he's a senior, he's a guy who's been around this program for a while, but he accepts his role. He accepts what he's tasked with. Is he going to score 22 points every single game? No, but back-to-back double-figure performances for him. And for UNCW to sweep Charleston, amazing. That's an amazing accomplishment. Charleston does not get swept by anybody, Karlie, but they got swept by the Seahawks, and you give UNCW their well-deserved flowers. White had the 25-9 game in that one, but Newby's a veteran. Shaquem Phillips, he stayed with Siddle. When Takeo Siddle took the job at UNCW, he wasn't sure who of the players that he retained would stay. And Shaquem stayed at UNCW. Now he's being rewarded. UNCW is a program of commitment, toughness, and guys stepping up when it matters most. The Seahawks can be a really dangerous team in March. And if they represent the CAA in the NCAA tournament, I'm calling it now. I don't care who the opponent is. My bracket will have UNCW advancing to the second round of the tournament. I believe they could wear Cinderella's slipper.
It's a selfless ball club, high character,
Very much so.
You reap what you sow, John. So we shall see. I cannot wait to see your bracket, regardless what happens. But if the shoe fits, right? Okay. So you look back, and this past Saturday in league play, all games were decided by 5 points or less. March, it's gonna be nuts, John. It's gonna be wild. But one step at a time, 1 week at a time. What games are on your radar this week?
Well, Drexel at UNCW Thursday night down in Wilmington. Remember, Drexel beat Wilmington. They beat UNCW back when conference play started. And it's because Drexel has great balance. Luke House, Mateo Cruz, Amari Williams, Justin Moore at point guard. It's important for Moore against Phillips and company to be able to run the show. This is a tough game for Drexel going down to Wilmington. UNCW is going to be out for revenge. I'm looking at that game as a really intriguing game. I'm looking at North Carolina A&T at Charleston Thursday night, CBS Sports Network. Can Charleston get momentum at home? Can they put together a nice performance, get into a rhythm here? They're right in the thick of this race. They've got Drexel on Saturday, Karlie. So it's a look ahead. You never want to look ahead in the CAA. There are no easy games in the CAA. William and Mary at Monmouth is on Thursday night. You get Gabe Dorsey, his shooting presence for William and Mary against Xander Rice and the Hawks. I'll be intrigued to see what happens there. Stony Brook at Elon. Elon's young, but Elon's a team that they put together sequences. Can they sustain? Northeastern at Campbell. What do I like about that? Anthony Del Orso at Campbell. He's become one of my favorite players to watch. 18 points per game. He's having a terrific season for the Camels. On the other side for Northeastern, they're defensively locked in. How does Bill Cohen's team guard Del Orso? I want to see what happens there. Delaware and Towson, we talked about earlier. I can't wait to see Delaware and Towson. Contrasting styles. You get Charles Thompson on one side. You get Jair Davis on the other. Towson's tough and physical. Delaware's got the balanced offense. I want to see what happens there on Thursday. Brief look at Saturday. Delaware at Charleston, fantastic matchup. Stony Brook at Campbell. I'm just intrigued to see Tyler Stevenson more on one side and Del Orso on the other. Monmouth at Northeastern. Again, for Northeastern in Boston, they're tough, they're gritty, but can they contain Rice? And then Doherty on the other side, what can he do? And can Northeastern get some more out of some of their complementary players? We'll see what happens there. But it's setting up for a really, really fun weekend of CAA play. Drexel at Charleston on Saturday is going to be theater. Drexel's offense much improved, but great defensively. What will they do on the defensive end of the floor in containing Charleston? You've got to slow Charleston down. You cannot let Charleston beat you with their tempo. If you let them get out on the run, good night.
Good night, good day. The table is set, and CAA Hoops fans, you're eating good this week. John, excellent work. As always, we love you. We're so thankful to have you, Guy.
Thank you so much, Karlie. I'm thankful for all of you.